Unos dicen que fue una tragedia. Otros hablan de un milagro. ¿Qué pasó realmente? ¿Qué pasa cuando el mundo te abandona?
¿Qué tal todos? Bienvenidos al canal. Y para mis suscriptores, bienvenidos de nuevo. Me llaman Austin de la Calle, o solo Austin si prefieres. Y hoy vamos a hablar de la peli La Sociedad de la Nieve, o en inglés se llama Society of the Snow. This movie is based on a true story, and it's about a Uruguayan rugby team whose plane crashed in the Andes Mountains more than 50 years ago, and their struggle to work together against impossible odds in order to survive long enough to be rescued. A fair warning, this movie is rated R for violent and disturbing material and brief nudity. It's on Netflix in both the original Spanish and the English translation. Now, I'll be sharing clips from the Spanish version, but I'll translate every line of dialogue. These clips won't include any graphic content, but they will touch on some disturbing things these people actually had to do in order to survive. And there's going to be some strong language involved as well. Now, before we get started, I'm doing a little giveaway for my viewers. I've created a post on the community tab asking for suggestions on specific content for future immersion exercises. Go to that post and comment a suggestion and like the ones you've seen commented by others that you most want me to do. Once I have at least 25 suggestions, the top 5 that get the most likes from everyone will get a free copy of my full conjugation spreadsheet, which will help you tremendously to get the hang of conjugating verbs, including the most irregular verbs in every single tense for every single subject. Having that in your toolkit will make these immersion exercises much easier. If your suggestion doesn't win, you can support the channel and buy it for $5 using the QR code on the screen or the link down in the description. So let's get started learning. We'll go back to the start of the intro to discuss what we can learn from it.
El 13 de octubre de 1972, un avión uruguayo se estrelló en la cordillera de los Andes. A bordo viajábamos 40 pasajeros y 5 tripulantes.
Firstly, notice how they say 1972. 1972. So that's 1972. In Spanish, when we want to count into the hundreds, we say the number with cientos attached to the end. The only exceptions are 500, 700, and 900, which gives us 500, 700, and 900.
Unos dicen que fue una tragedia. Otros hablan de un milagro. ¿Qué pasó realmente? ¿Qué pasa cuando el mundo te abandona? Cuando no tenés ropa y te estás congelando. Cuando no tenés comida y te estás muriendo.
Okay, so the next thing we have is cuando no tenés ropa and no tenés comida. If you've already seen my conjugation series, you know that this is the verb tener, to have, with vos as the subject. Part of the reason why I wanted to show you guys this movie is to start getting used to hearing different accents along with hearing vos used as a subject. Vos is used in certain countries, including Uruguay, as the equivalent to tu. If you've already seen my conjugation series, you know that vos shares most of the same conjugation rules as tu, but it has different rules in certain tenses.
La respuesta está en la montaña. Hay que regresar al pasado.
The last thing we have here is hay que regresar al pasado, which gives us one must return to the past. When we talk about actions which are obligations or requirements, hay que can be used to talk about an obligation that applies to pretty much everyone in general instead of a specific subject. When we want to say that a specific person or group has to do something, we use tener que. For example, tengo que levantarme temprano mañana means I have to get up early tomorrow.
Sabiendo que el pasado es lo que más cambia.
All right, so let's move on to our next clip and talk about what we can learn from it. This next part's about 35 minutes into the movie and takes place about a week after the plane crash. As we watch, pay attention to the way that they pronounce certain words with their regional accent and how the vos conjugations are similar to and different from those for tú. Also, keep an eye out for when they use the subjunctive mood, which is used often in this conversation to talk subjectively about things the speakers aren't certain of.
No vienen. Nos estamos muriendo de hambre. Nos estamos consumiendo.
7 días y 7 noches sin comer nada. Si no comemos nos vamos a morir.
¿Comer qué? Vos estás loco, Roberto. Vas a hacer que todos los demás se vuelvan locos también.
Afuera hay comida.
Afuera hay proteína, energía que necesitamos. ¿Sabes lo que es una locura, Marcelo? Seguir como
Roberto.
estamos.
Roberto tiene razón, estamos hablando de vivir o morir, Marcelo.
Okay, so here we've got Roberto tiene razón. In Spanish, when we want to say that someone is right about something, we don't generally say that they are correct, but rather that they have reason with tener razón. The verb tener is used for all sorts of things, like to say that something makes sense with tener sentido, or to say that we're hungry or thirsty with tener hambre and tener sed. Now, I know Profe Austin wants to do a video sometime to help you make full use of this super versatile verb, so stay tuned for that.
Y si en 2 días aparece el rescate, ¿qué vamos a hacer, Fito? No podemos aguantar 2 días más.
¿Sabes lo que pasa cuando dejas de comer por tanto tiempo?
Roberto.
El cuerpo se seca, como una planta. Se seca el cerebro. No puedes pensar, Marcelo.
Yo estoy meando negro.
Yo también estoy mirando negro.
¿Y si lo hacemos? ¿Qué va a pasar con nosotros? Dios nos va a perdonar. Si Dios nos puso en esta situación, va a comprender que hagamos lo imposible para sobrevivir.
Dios no tiene nada que ver con esto.
There's another use for tener. Tener que ver con literally translates as to have to see with. But in Spanish, it's how we say that something has to do with something else, to talk about how they're related or not related.
Disculpame, Marcelo. Acá nos trajo la suerte.
La mala suerte.
Es solo carne.
Es gente que queremos,
¿Y
Arturo.
cómo se corta un cuerpo? ¿Y quién sería capaz de hacerlo?
Yo lo hago.
Yo también.
Yo no voy a comer. Nosotros no podemos hacer eso.
All right, now you might have noticed that she used the subjects yo and nosotros, even though the conjugation already made it clear who those subjects are. So she's choosing to include those to add emphasis to the fact that they won't go along with the rest of the group, like saying, we can't do that. Keep an eye out for this when they include those subjects even when they aren't necessary.
¿Legal comer un muerto? ¿No vamos a ir presos si lo hacemos?
Sería como la donación de órganos.
¿Qué estás diciendo? Para que sea una donación de un órgano, vos necesitas el consentimiento del donante. Marcelo, es un delito. Nosotros no podemos ir, agarrar y usar un cuerpo sin su consentimiento.
Tenemos que comer nomás.
No tenemos ese derecho.
¿Y yo no tengo derecho a hacer todo lo que pueda para poder vivir? ¿Quién me va a sacar ese derecho?
Okay, so let's get into our last clip, which takes place about 6 weeks after the crash, with about 45 minutes left in the movie.
Chocho, mírame acá para una fotito.
All right, so the first thing is una fotito, or a little photo. Fotito is the diminutive of foto, which is actually a feminine word, even though it ends in O. And that's because foto is shorthand for fotografía, or photograph, which ends in an A and follows the normal gender rules. Another example of this is for motorcycle, which is called la moto, or la motocicleta.
Tintín se empeña en sacar fotografías, como si tomara recuerdos de un viaje que tiene fecha de regreso. Me pregunto para quién serán esas imágenes. Para nosotros.
Sonrían, carajo.
Yo no voy a llegar a verlas.
Aunque todavía no podemos reír, che.
Tal vez sean para nuestras familias, o para otras personas que ahora mismo nos recuerdan, mirando fotografías que nos tomaron en el pasado. Y al mirar las fotos...
Alright, now al mirar means upon looking at, used to set up another action that immediately follows. This construction with al plus infinitive is often used in Spanish, such as al llegar, like in the sentence, al llegar a casa, averiguamos que nos robaron, or upon arriving home, we found out that we were robbed.
Volveremos a vivir en su imaginación, porque se harán exactamente las mismas preguntas que nos hacemos nosotros.
Two things here with se harán las mismas preguntas, or the same questions will be asked. Firstly, when we want to ask a question to somebody, we don't say preguntar una pregunta, but instead we say hacer una pregunta, or make a question. Secondly, se harán means they will be made, and it uses the impersonal se, which I know Profe Austin is going to want to do a video on, but in short, it's how we say that an action is done, or that one does an action, used in a general sense. A super common example of this is when we ask how to say something in Spanish with ¿cómo se dice?, which literally translates to how is it said, or how does one say it? All right, let's wrap this up.
¿Qué le pasó? ¿Qué nos pasó? ¿Quiénes fuimos a la montaña?
All right, guys. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Definitely make sure you go check out the full movie, but just be ready for it to hit you in the feels. Like if you enjoyed the video or if you learned something today, and make sure you're subscribed if you want to keep learning Spanish with me. Now, I'm going to give Profe Austin a chance to get his next lesson out on pronunciation tricks before I come back with more immersion exercises. But I'll be seeing you guys real soon. Make sure you hit up that post tab so you can check out that giveaway for the conjugation spreadsheet just by providing me with any suggestions on specific content you want for immersion exercises. Muchísimas gracias por ver. Hasta la próxima!